What's going on, guys? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to talk about does Tom Aspinall have the chance to become the greatest heavyweight of all time? I know that this is very early, considering that he is only the interim heavyweight champion with Jon Jones holding up the entire division. But I want to make a video talking about is Tom Aspinall going to be better than the greatest heavyweights of all time, Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, Jon Jones holding the belt right now. And if you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so please go down there and hit the subscribe button. That helps out so much. While you're down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys are always notified when I release content. Thank you guys so much for watching, but let's jump right into the video. Can Tom Aspinall be the greatest heavyweight of all time? Okay, so I want to just talk about today, can Tom Aspinall be the greatest heavyweight of all time? As we know, coming up, he is fighting Curtis Blaydes at UFC 304 as the co-main event, as he's defending his interim title. And we all know that Jon Jones is the current heavyweight champion and is tore his pec and is out of the can't defend his title and is probably going to come back and defend against Stipe Miocic. Everyone knows my opinion on that, of how Jon Jones should forfeit the belt and he should fight Stipe for a non-belt fight, and Tom Aspinall is the real champion. And I just do think Tom Aspinall is the real champion, and that's end of story. But does Tom Aspinall have a chance to become the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time? So let's look a little bit closer in Tom Aspinall's style. Tom Aspinall is an amazing quick striker. Now, yes, he does have some holes in his game. He does keep his chin up a little bit too much, but Tom Aspinall's striking ability is absolutely superb. If you see that Sergey Pavlovich fight, his in and out ability and it's almost not, I don't want to say Michael Venom Page because Michael Venom Page is so, he keeps his arms down, but Tom Aspinall stays really far on the outside and he almost lunges into you to get those shots. You look at the Sergey Pavlovich fight where he did knock out Sergey and he was outside, he was inside punching you, and then you finished you instantly. So that is something that a lot of these UFC heavyweights are going to have to worry because of how fast Tom Aspinall is, and all these guys' reaction times are going to be a tiny bit slower than someone like a bantamweight or a featherweight or a lightweight. But these guys are going to be these guys are going to have a really hard time with Tom Aspinall due to that speed. And the other thing that is crazy is Tom Aspinall has the speed, but he also has the size. He is probably one of the biggest UFC heavyweights currently in the division. The only person off the top of my mind who I know is bigger than him is Alexander Volkov, who's taller than him, and Robelis de Spain, who just got fraud checked. But Tom Aspinall's size is something that is going to be a massive advantage to him in every single facet of the game, because he's going to be able to use that as top pressure. He's going to be able to use that size as kind of an extra, just be able to move his opponent to where he wants. And that leads me into the next thing of why that size is so important, because Tom Aspinall's jiu-jitsu skills are next level. Tom Aspinall has the jiu-jitsu ability of someone who is a lot smaller than he is. He is so well-rounded, and I think that's the reason I'm wanted to consider making this video, because Tom Aspinall has all the pieces possible to become the UFC heavyweight GOAT. And you look at that jiu-jitsu ability, submitting Alexander Volkov and submitting a lot of these other fighters on his way up. But he also has the knockouts too, like I said, going back to that striking, knocking out Marcin Tybura, knocking out Sergey Pavlovich. All of this well-rounded ability for Tom Aspinall is something that is truly impressive going into these fights. And knowing that his fight against Curtis Blaydes is coming up, which is one of, if not the hardest fights for Tom Aspinall, because Curtis Blaydes does have the wrestling ability. Now, yes, Blaydes, he does keep his chin up, and Blaydes has his own problems, but Tom Aspinall I think he's going to run through Curtis Blaydes, and that is not a testament to how bad Curtis Blaydes is as a fighter, because like I said, I think he's one of the toughest matchups in the UFC heavyweight division currently for Tom Aspinall. But I do think that Tom Aspinall is going to use that speed, and he could time a takedown in there and ultimately submit Blaydes, but I do think it's going to be a TKO for Tom Aspinall. But you look at just his overall ability, and he has every single tool needed in the tool belt to become the greatest heavyweight champion of all time, and that is it. End of story. No one can debate that. But can he really do it? And the only thing that I think is stopping him is the lack of competition in the UFC heavyweight division. And you might be thinking, well, lack of competition, he's going to be able to beat all these guys. And yes, but you look at some of the guys like Daniel Cormier, who was able to beat Stipe and was able to, do all these things, and Stipe Miocic, who was able to beat Daniel Cormier and Francis Ngannou and all these guys who are such good heavyweights. Really, Tom Aspinall There's only a couple UFC heavyweights right now. You got Sergey Pavlovich, who just lost to Alexander Volkov, who lost to Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane, who has no wrestling defense. You have John Jones, but John Jones is 37. You have Stipe Miocic, who's a grandpa. It's just really, the division isn't really that deep. And then once you get out of the top five, you have some really unrounded fighters. Like Jailton Almeida is a great jiu-jitsu and wrestling fighter, but has no striking to his name and would get absolutely demolished by Tom Aspinall. You got Sergey Spivak, Marcin Tybura, Tai Tuivasa. You have some of these guys who don't have the name and the ability as these top heavyweights. But like I said, Tom Aspinall is going to be able to beat a lot of these guys, if not all of these guys, but that lack of name recognition is going to really hamper him in the future, just to say, who did he really fight in that UFC heavyweight division? But I do think either way, Tom Aspinall is going to go on a crazy run and defend this belt a ton of times. And ultimately, that's why I do think that it's not going to matter about the lack of name recognition, rather just Tom Aspinall's ability to just dismantle these guys one by one as they're thrown up in front of him. Tom Aspinall is one of the most special fighters currently in the UFC. For his size to have his ability, his speed, his strength, and everything that he truly possesses is something it's a matchmaking nightmare for whoever you put up against him. And that is something of why I believe that Tom Aspinall is 100% going to be the greatest UFC heavyweight champion of all time. It's going to take a couple years because Tom Aspinall is going to need to defend that belt. But like I said, if you put Tom Aspinall right now up against John Jones, I think he beats John Jones. In prime John Jones, I don't think he beats him in skill, but the only way that Tom Aspinall would be able to beat John Jones in prime would be that size. And like that's not a crazy statement to make, because if you look at Demetrius Johnson fighting someone like, Georges St. Pierre, I mean, Mighty Mouse is not going to be able to beat Georges St. Pierre, even though Mighty Mouse could have been a better skilled fighter. But that's besides the point. Tom Aspinall is going to be, in my opinion, the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA and my take that Tom Aspinall is going to be the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time. I think he possesses all the skills, all the abilities, and the heart and power to become the UFC's heavyweight GOAT. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA. If you guys enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. First off, I do try to respond to as many comments as possible, so please leave a comment down below and I will do my best to respond to it. Next off, please hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and the support means so much. And while you're down there, please turn on the post notifications, because 98% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So please go down there and hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and I will catch you guys very, very soon with more UFC content and news.